They say if you want to get rich, start trying to sell things about the supernatural paranormal. Even more so, start a church. Some of these guys have done both from the New Apostolic Reformation.
I want to tell you my secret now. I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake?
He's dead. Before I can touch him, my eyes are drawn up, and I see his face in heaven. I've seen lots of dead people in our work, right next to me. I've never seen someone in heaven. And he smiled this huge smile, which he always did, and then turned his head and laughed.
Starts talking about ghosts.
He's okay. He's bloody, but you just know. And I see Zal, he's on his back, all these wounds. He's dead. Before I can touch him, my eyes are drawn up, and I see his face in heaven. I've seen lots of dead people. I've never seen someone in heaven. And he smiled this huge smile, which he always did, and then turned his head and laughed. And I was like, oh my gosh. Wow, God, I saw him in heaven.
I saw him.
And the feeling was not a comfort, it was reality.
Reality.
It was reality.
Reality.
Heaven is real, and he's there. And he's more than happy. He's completely fulfilled and accelerating. And as he looked at us, if I could analyze it thinking back, completely fulfilled and accelerating. And as he looked at us, if I could analyze it thinking back, he did not look at us with pity or sorrow. He looked at us like, it's okay. You're part of God's will on earth as it is in heaven. The world and life is fatal. It's okay. Keep going. I'm up here. And I was like, wow, God, I saw that. You let me see that.
See it.
Thank you. And after that, people were praying for us from Houston. It was interesting. They said, his death will not be in vain. From those dry bones will come a new life.
Okay, so this is a false prophecy that is reinterpreting the prophecy of the dry bones about Israel into David EUBANK's version about one of his cult members that died for his films and the PKK in Syria.
Sure what that meant. The advance will stop there. Dry bones. They said his death will not be in vain. People were praying for us from Houston. It was interesting. They said his death will not be in vain. From those dry bones will come a new life.
Now, see how it's dramatic. And when David EUBANK says a prayer, or people in his cult say a prayer, then they always claim that they're getting a vision or an answer from God that fits his agenda.
And then I felt God. And I felt God say. And then I thought, Dave, you better pray. And I prayed, and I felt God say. I felt God's voice. I felt God say.
Take your time, young. I know you can hear me. Why did you attack all those people? Why did you pick up the knife? God told me to.
In vain. From those dry bones will come a new life. Dry bone, dry bone.
Ezekiel connected them, dry bones. Ezekiel connected them, dry bones. Ezekiel connected them, dry bones. Now hear the word of the Lord. Well, your toe bone connected to your foot bone connected to your heel bone connected to your ankle bone connected to your leg bone connected to your knee bone connected to your thigh bone connected to your hip bone connected to your backbone connected to your shoulder bone connected to your neck bone connected to your head bone. Now hear the word of the Lord. Them bones gonna walk around. Them bones gonna walk around. Them bones gonna walk around. Now hear the word of the Lord. Disconnect them bones, them dry bones. Disconnect them bones, them dry bones. Disconnect them bones, them dry bones. Now hear the word of the Lord. Well, your head bone connected from your neck bone connected from your shoulder bone connected from your backbone connected from your hip bone connected from your thigh bone connected from your knee bone connected from your leg bone connected from your ankle bone connected from your heel bone connected from your foot bone connected from your toe bone. Now hear the word of the Lord. Oh, well, them bones, them dry bones, them dry bones, them dry bones. Now hear the word of the Lord.
Dry bones will come a new life. A new life.
Yeah, okay. So this is the same stuff we see with some of these other preachers from the New Apostolic Reformation.
The false prophecies, that in and of themselves marks them as outside of Orthodox Christianity, because they all claim regularly that God speaks to them, and they hear God speak to them constantly. God seems to speak to these folks more than he ever did to Moses. And they're always, it is, you probably could barely listen to 10 minutes of a sermon out of Bethel and not hear the phrase, God told me, I heard God say, God said this and God said that. I mean, it's just constant. It's just, it flows out of them. It oozes out of their pores. And so the charismatic movement really does not believe it to be a serious thing to put words in God's mouth that he did not say. And yet the Bible marks such people as false prophets, and they do this all the time. I mean, it's and you listen to their sermons. It's not about exegesis. You don't hear exposition of the text. You hear stories and personal experiences. Well, God did this, God did that. I saw this happened over here, and they'll throw in a verse here or two just to kind of sprinkle it in to, just to make it appear to be preaching, but that. There's no exposition there. There's no inductive study of Scripture. It's all about stories, feelings, personal experiences, and false prophecies. And they do that literally.
I felt God say,
very dramatic. It always has to do with signs and wonders, miracles that fit whatever they want to do It's from their own heart.
But I know this, where Zhao died, you can go back there right now. You can come with me to Syria. We're going in October, November, God willing. Where he died is now the no man's land, but the offensive stopped that day. Now, they shell and shoot every day. You can't walk around there, but the offensive stopped. It's kind of strange. It stopped cold right where he was killed from November the 3rd to this day. And I pray it keep stopping. Again, they're still shooting, but they're not coming forward. And the Americans are there, not at the front. The Americans are going to the oil fields about 20 kilometers south. So they're still kind of around. And we're in the middle. So after that, I thought, wow, God. And then was the big funeral service. And all these women are crying for Zhao. And they're crying and crying and over his casket. And I was crying. We're all crying. And I really felt, wow. I think that's one of the jobs of the church. You don't have to fake cry. But these women who are Kurdish, can't speak any English, don't know where even Burma is, are crying for this man and saying, that's my son who died.
David Eubank has censored people, so he doesn't even know who's dying to share the grief with, and is responsible in helping and aiding terrorists that are killing people and creating other widows and fatherless children.
And we shared that. The battle went on, even though the front is static, they're still shooting, there's still casualties. Every morning, a feeling came up in my heart of anger. And there's a fine line between anger and hate and bitterness. I don't know where that line crosses, but I began to feel I'm becoming more than just angry, becoming bitter. At who? Well, the Turks, who killed my best friend, and the Americans, who allowed it to happen and deceitfully betrayed these people.
See, here comes the anti-American stuff again. This is a common theme for these left-wing con artists.
Well, the Turks, who killed my best friend, and the Americans, who allowed it to happen and deceitfully betrayed these people.
See, here comes the anti-American stuff again. This is a common theme for these left-wing con artists, okay? And they get a lot of money through white guilt, through America guilt. And the truth is that was one of the best things that America did, was pull back so the PKK could do some destruction to this terrorist organization. Unfortunately, David Eubank has been helping these terrorist organizations that do use civilians as human shields.
Americans, who allowed it to happen and deceitfully betrayed these people. Oh my gosh, why do we do that? We got nothing. I was just like, even if you got something, it's just sinful. And I had this feeling.
Now, he doesn't think it's sinful to pray for Allah or to Allah in this service, or to lie, or to claim that he's communicating with the dead, or say that his father is communicating with Satan and we should trust his father, okay? But he says it's sinful for America to pull back and temporarily stop supporting a communist terrorist organization in an area where he supports the Rojava Revolution, which he's gotten a lot of money off of.
Rise up in me. And I remember thinking, I know this feeling. I felt it before. In the Battle of Mosul, when ISIS killed this little kid next to me, I thought, that's it, justice. I'm going to go get ISIS. What God showed me is justice is revenge unless it's love. So when someone's hurt you.
So this is how he justifies helping the PKK terrorist organization that is U.S. designated, help another U.S. designated terrorist organization, ISIS, escape justice, and normalizes it and makes it seem like it's holy when it's completely evil, unholy, demonic, and resulted in mass murder and persecution of more people.
You're really hurt. The only way you're going to get justice, the only way you keep yourself clean is to say, Lord, give me love for that person. What's the best punishment for that person that helps them change? Now, whether they change or not is up to them.
But our job is not to help ISIS change. Our job is to kill ISIS so they will stop raping children and chopping people's heads off and blowing themselves up, abducting people, extorting people, stealing people's homes. This shows the depths of the deception of this false religion. David Eubank is involved with multiple cults, New Apostolic Reformation, NAR. He's involved with Calvary Chapel, which is the predecessor to that, and Jim Jones People's Temple denomination, the Disciples of Christ. The NAR is also directly related to the ideology of Jim Jones.
It's the best. That's love. And whether they accept that love or not, and that's really their only hope. You can stop people with a bullet, and you might have to sometimes, but you will not change their heart with a bullet. No way. You can't change my heart. I can't change your heart by force. Nope.
We're not talking about changing ISIS hearts and minds. We're talking about getting rid of ISIS so they can't be broken out of prison, so they can't continue, so they can't use con artists like David Eubank to help them just get out of prison, like probation for terrorists, pedophiles, and headhunters. Okay, that is the depths of the depravity of David Eubank's false doctrine.
Only Jesus loves. So when you have someone who's hurt you and you say, Lord, forgive me, I give up revenge. I have the right to revenge, but I give it up because that's yours. But God has told us justice is in our hands. Revenge is in his hands. We have to keep that difference, and the difference is love.
Now he says that this love means giving ISIS a new start, which they use to murder more people.
Sometimes you can't love. I can. I won't want to say about y'all. I can. I've been hurt bad enough. That little 3-year-old's dead. I cannot love, but I can do this. Jesus, I give up revenge. Jesus, forgive me. Help me. And he supernaturally healed me. That's who we serve. That's who we come to worship every Sunday and every day. The supernatural Jesus who helps us do what we cannot do. There's no way I can love that guy. You're right. You don't have to. You just have to obey Jesus and watch what he does. He's not a philosophy out here somewhere.
Okay, David Eubank doesn't even teach Jesus. He teaches Esau, Allah, Emergent Church, NAR, Signs and Wonders cult. It's a false Christ. Since he's teaching a false Christ, it becomes irrelevant that he's using the word Jesus. It's only relevant in that Christ said that false prophets and false Christs would come in his name. Now, since David Eubank and Francis Chan, who is his Free Burma Ranger movie executive director, both claim that they can see in people's hearts, which is ESP, okay, that makes them both false Christ. They're attributing to themselves these supernatural powers that the scriptures clearly tell us only Christ has, only the Creator has.
He's a supernatural being who died on the cross to be with us and save us from our sins and save us every day. And I know it's true because he did it to me. I couldn't believe it. It's like surgery. Well, now I'm in Syria. Same thing. I'm really mad. I'm mad at our president. He's not the only one. There's a bunch of generals who said nothing. There's a whole bunch of advisors. But when you're in charge, like you are here, you're in charge of whatever final decision is. You own it. That's where my anger went. He's not to blame for the death, but he allowed it to happen. He set in motion, allowed the things to happen. So it's welling up in me. And I keep saying, Jesus, I don't want to feel that. Forgive me. Give me love for him. Forgive me. I kept saying it. Fox News shows up about 10 days after Zal's dead. It's shooting every day, but the defensive is stopped. So that's when the journalists start to come. When it's like, okay, they won't overrun us. And they put the microphone in my mouth. What happened? And I said, well, we betrayed these people. That's what happened. And it's horrible. And I was wearing the same shirt, I had blood all over it. So this is the blood of my friends who I picked up. Not my Burmese friend. These are Kurds.
Now, David Eubank has been rescuing terrorists. This is something that he's not honest about. And then he acts like it's all civilians, okay? And the civilians that are getting killed are because of the terrorists that he's supporting and lying for.
And then I said to the camera, we made a big mistake. America is not God, and we're not the devil. And we make mistakes. All humans do. And every mistake, God can bring good from. That's the math of God. But you got to confess it. And then, so I said, America, we should say we're sorry. And then I felt God say, you tell President Trump you love him. Now, I'm not making a political speech today. I'm just talking about. And I was like, I tell President Trump I love him? Is that true? And then I felt God said, you decide. I'm going to help you. So then I looked at the camera and I mean it. And if I ever meet him, I'll say it and it'll be true. President Trump, sir, I love you. I love you. I'm behind you all the way. God gave me that. Oh, this is my message for today. And I have a song I want to close with that Saheli wrote. Zal sang, this wild man, cameraman, super athlete. And he was a very fit, athletic guy. And then he got married, and he disappeared from our missions, which usually involve a lot of walking, for a little over a year.
Now, if he had steered clear of Free Burma Rangers making money off of his videos and helping the PKK U.S. designated terrorist organization in Syria that weren't fighting ISIS but helped ISIS escape at this point, then he could still be alive possibly with his 1-year-old that died. He died apparently on the day his 1-year-old turned 1 year old, helping this maniac.
He had a new child born. And then he came and rejoined us. When he came and rejoined us, he put on like 30 pounds of fat. And it was like, I said, Zal, man, you're fat. Hey, sir. And so I started introducing him. We're very close. And this is Ilya, our medic. This is Monkey, our pastor. And this is Fat Man. And he'd go, no, I am handsome hero, awesome fat man. And from then on, he'd walk around introducing himself as awesome hero, fat man. But he died in Syria.
Okay, so anyway, liberals always complain about fat shaming and stuff. David Eubank's own cult does that, but he's immune from ever going by any of his own rules.
And he went to heaven. Thank God I saw that. We know that. We think we know it. We believe it.
Okay, again, he says that he saw Zhao Sang in heaven. This is a false testimony.
He went to heaven. I thank God I saw that. We know that. We think we know it. We believe it because we're following Jesus. I got to see it.
He went to heaven. I thank God I saw that. We know that. We think we know it. We believe it because we're following Jesus. I got to see it.
So Haley will explain the song a little bit, and I'll come up and close.
Thank y'all for letting me share. I don't like to sing this song for a lot of people because it's difficult when you know someone that's really personal to you and you write something for them because they're gone. And it always makes me cry after I sing it, even though it's been almost a year. And this song was written for him.
Now keep in mind, this guy was led into a position of danger just like she was. And David Eubank said that he's willing to get his own children captured or killed.
His daughter, Saemin Ayn, had her birthday the day he was killed, turned 1 year.
Now, for some reason, David Eubank never even put his daughter's name in the article. Okay, but his daughter just said what it was. It's interesting that David Eubank is willing to get his own children killed. He's willing to make a fatherless child for his movie making. The guy, by David Eubank's own admission, was making movies when he was killed, was editing his movies on the battlefield for David Eubank's production when he was killed. And they were helping a PKK terrorist organization. It had nothing to do with ISIS. At this point, that organization was helping ISIS escape justice, taking bribes. Tens of thousands of ISIS were let go. And David Eubank was part of the propaganda to continue that.
And he was behind a beautiful wife named Lulu in Kitchen State. Please keep her in your prayers. And I'll do my darndest to sing this well.